There we go. I welcome you to my AER Memories of Old run. And before I start, I wanna point out that this run is post-commentated, which means I didn't commentate it while I've played it. Just happened to be a practice run and I kind of nailed it after the start section. And yeah, I wanted to have one where, well, on the leaderboards where we talk about all of the glitches and tricks we do. Just so people that are interested in getting and running the game have some kind of, how would you say, like some guidance, I believe. And yeah, the start right here is pretty straightforward. Just like an introduction to the game mechanics and the story itself. We just need to exit this first cave. Yeah, now some other general things. This is an indie game from Forgotten Key. I'm gonna talk a bit more about them at the credits at the end. It's a really chill game, or chilled game, which heavily builds up on exploration and riddles that you can solve to proceed in the whole storyline. And I try to not spoil anything about the story itself because it's a really nice game and would recommend anyone to get it and play it for himself or yourself. It's really nice and it has a really dark or deep story. Yeah, and it can bring you or enjoy you for not that long, but yeah, it's more a short game. I think the normal casual playtime is around 6 or 7 hours. Not the biggest game, but definitely a good one. So grab yourself a key. And it also only costs like $1 right now because of a Humble Bundle package that they included the game in like a year or 2 years ago. And yeah, I think it's more than worth it to spend $1 on this game. Alright, now we are on the overworld. This is like the main traveling world that we are using to get to different areas and stages in the game. We are introduced to flying. Yeah, on the overworld we can enter our flying state at any time that we want, and while we are in caves and temples we are not allowed to enter any flying states. Speaking of the game intentions, you know. However, we are speedrunners and we are going to fly indoors, which is not supposed. And it's really tricky sometimes, but yeah, you'll see what I mean. So we just got some achievements and we spoke to 3 NPCs. They are also the only NPCs in this game that I don't want to spoil anything that we can talk to, let's say it like that. Yeah. And we are just heading to the first cave. There are like 3 temples in this game, and each temple needs a key to be opened up. And yeah, you also need to open up the keys most of the times, like the sections and caves where you get the keys. So this is what we did right here. I performed something called cutscene flying. There are certain cutscenes in the game which we can just pause and unpause, and by doing that we regain control over our character, and that allows us to proceed in the next route or the next section that we need to go to while being in the cutscene and having it playing. So having it play. I'm sorry about my English, by the way. It's not my native language, as you can tell. Alright, and that being said, we are going to enter the first key cave. We call it Grove Key, however the real name, like the name in the game, is something like Elias Cave Den or something like that. Yeah, you get used to the speedrun expressions pretty fast, so I am not even sure anymore. And right here I'm trying to get a fly glitch. As I told, or already tell, you're not supposed to fly indoors, and we abuse something which has to do with the calculations of the collisions. Basically every... yeah, there we got it. Every object that you can see in this game has a known hitbox and a known collision mesh, and there is, or there seems to be, a bug in the calculations of different angles while trying to decide if we are hitting a collision or not. And what they basically do is they let the engine think that we are, you know, falling out of bounds or falling from a high cliff, and the game thinks, oh god, they're going to, you know, to get stuck somewhere, or they are going to die. We need to allow them to fly or enter the flying state, so that they can save themselves, you know. And that's what we do for most of, well, for all of the temples and all of the key sections, or the caves. So that was the first key that we got right there. We also talked to a spirit animal that we rescued by getting the key. Well, we got the key from the spirit animal. I'm kind of confused, sorry. And yeah, we need to talk to 3 spirit animals to get 1 achievement. This is, by the way, the all achievements run, which is essentially the 100% of this game. There isn't any in-game collectibles except from the achievements itself, and yeah, we have like 3 main categories that we run. Obviously any percent. We also have all achievements right here, like the 100%, and we also have any percent, no major glitches. And yeah, you understand why we have that section, well, at least the last one, because the last one disallows you, or like has a rule set that abandons the possibility to use indoor flying techniques, and that allows, or like makes it really interesting for a secondary routing, because you actually do the riddles and you can't skip them without the flying state. And that was kind of a word hassle. I'm sorry about that. Alright, we are now in the first temple right here, and we are basically going to skip all of it. You'll see what I mean. As I already tell, the game heavily depends on puzzling and riddling and exploration. The temples are pretty, you know, filled with different stages and areas which you need to activate after each other. We don't do that because we can just fly, you know. So this is the part where we still follow the intended way of playing through that temple right here, but this is where it also ends, right here behind that door. You're normally supposed to open those 2 doors, the other one that we saw in the cutscene, and to proceed into another area to solve some riddles. And yeah, since we are able to fly because of the fly glitch that we performed at the start of the temple, we can just go out of bounds right here and fly to the end of the temple. And there we go, that's the whole temple, and it would normally take around 15 minutes or something. If not more, because you are not able to fly, you know. Which means you need to travel between the different levels, and yeah, you have to do some backtracking and it takes some time. So that's the preferred way for speedruns right here. With the exception of no major glitches, obviously. Each temple also gets us back to the surface after completing it, which you can see right now. And that's usually when we split. And this was a rainbow or gold split for me. Yay. I have to admit that I didn't play archives very well since I've started running this category. I have some better times in my any percent routes or splits. But yeah, it's alright. There are some minor things that I could do better, but it's pretty solid. We just get some other achievements right here. There are 20 achievements in the game as a whole. And we are now approaching the first, or like, yeah, the first cave where we only visit to talk to a spirit animal. It's also the cave that has the latest or most new glitch in it. It's obviously, again, the flying stuff, but yeah, I'm pretty inconsistent at it, and I just started trying to get it during runs, like 3 runs ago or something, and I failed it hard on the other ones. However, I noticed that if you aim for like the 2 colliding stones or bricks on the block on the bottom, you pretty much always get the flying state or get into the flying state, which is what we want. So that's the reason why I saved 1 minute and 40 seconds in here. It's insane. Some other achievements, and we are now heading to the northern or most northern section in the game. But before we do that, we need to visit another cave, which has to do with the story, but I'm not gonna spoil you, so all good. It's also the place that I find the most beautiful in the whole game. We aren't going to see a lot of it, but that's about it. A little sneak peek. If you want to see what I mean, you need to buy the game for yourself. No, but like it's a really nice room. We have like an opened up roof, and you can see the stars and the planets and the polar lights and all the good stuff, you know. It's really cool. We have a North Key upcoming right here, which was the hardest, or one of the hardest or most finicky tricks that we had in the runs. There are some, well, basically for all of the indoor flying glitches we have different setups, and some of them are risky, like that one that I'm doing right now, but I was lucky I got it. This one is really risky. I kind of get it consistently in the last few weeks, but yeah, it's usually really hard to nail it every time, and it can cost you a lot of time if you fail, so that's something you would do for a safe run or like a marathon run. And we also abused the cutscene flying again right here. There we go. We are not sure why we can do that or like regain control over our character in certain cutscenes, because it doesn't really make sense, you know? Shouldn't it be like in all cutscenes you lose your input and don't regain it again, you know? Or the other way, you should always regain control in each cutscene because they didn't think about it. But for a very weird reason, the input itself from your controller or keyboard is only blocked in some of the cutscenes, which is weird, but yeah. We might find out why at some point in the future, but we don't right now. We just know which ones work and which ones don't. And that brings us to Temple 2, which now is the hardest or most annoying part of the game. At least for me, and as far as I heard, for every runner that is active at the moment. The reason being is that we used to have a different glitch setup at a different place in the temple, which took like 20 seconds longer, but it was pretty consistent. And we then had a runner who found another way of entering into the flying state, and yeah, you're gonna see it. It's right at the start and it's super finicky. It uses something we call super bounce. It has to do with the collisions again. If you hit certain edges of rocks at a different or certain degree, you get like a super high jump or like a bounce into the air, because the game tries to, you know, bounce you back into the collision mesh, because it thinks you're going to glitch through a wall or something. And yeah, that bounces up, and you then also need to hit a certain spot at the ground to trigger the miscalculation for the collision boundaries again, and that together is really hard to get on a consistent, in a consistent way. However, by doing that, we also are able to just skip the whole temple itself. This one takes probably twice the time from the first one. By the way, from a normal casual player's perspective, we are doing the whole game backwards right now. You are not forced to follow the normal path that you should be following if you just read through the story and, you know, go where the hints are taking you. It's just faster for the speedrun route, and it allows us to just do that, so that's why we are doing it. And that was the second temple, with a golden split again. And this one is actually probably a real golden one overall of my runs that I did on this game. We just detour right here to get another achievement, nothing too interesting. There we go. And that's also the most northern point that you can get to in this game. If I would open up the map right now, which I can't obviously, because it's gonna freeze the game till I get out of it again. Yeah, there's no point after that little sky island that we just went into, and you just fly out of the map and get respawned if you try to fly more northern than that. And we are going to get into the last cave, in which we will find the third and last or final spirit animal, the bear. And yeah, the bear is really cool. Well, the cave itself, you'll see why. Well, first of all, the flying glitch is like gifted, you know. It's nothing special, you just bonk yourself on this corner right here, and you'll just get the flying glitch. And there you go. That's all you need to do. And I failed a bit right here. I wasn't quite in front of him when I tried to talk to him. That's another really annoying thing. If you're playing with the controller, the talk key or interact key is the same key as the jump key. And yeah, that makes for the very weird situations where you just jump instead of initiate a conversation or something. And yeah, we just missed it, but when I was flying out, that's like one of the most or the coolest gameplay sections in the game, I think, for a speedrunner. It's super narrow and you need to be super precise with your flying, and it feels just super nice if you nail it. It's really cool. But really short too, so there's that. I always enjoy getting to that point in the run. We do a little bit of backtracking right here. As you can see, we would need to visit those two little sky islands right here. However, we need to finish up our quest that we initiated at the start, where we talk to the 3 NPCs. The reason behind that is again for a achievement that we need to get. Erin, it's the name of the little girl. Well, I won't talk too much about it, but yeah, that's her name, and she likes to hide herself because she's like a playful child, and they like hiding, I guess. And their parents are pretty worried about that because they are like scared that she will just get lost and, you know, never come back. And yeah, we are kind of asked to open up our eyes, and if we find Erin, we should contact the parents again. And yeah, that's what we did, and we get an achievement for that. Or at least we found her, you know. You're not forced to go back to the parents again to explain them that you just found her daughter. We can now activate 2 statues or symbols that open up the entrance for the next key cave. It's also the last key cave that we are going to visit. And it's the one I hate the most, together with Monastery. You'll see why. I'm gonna lose some time in here, I can already tell that. Kind of spoil you. Yeah, the thing is, I used to get this trick pretty often. However, it just doesn't work anymore, and I don't know why. I'm probably not hitting the right angles. Like, the main idea is to get up onto that pole right here to have enough height to fulfill one requirement for the trick itself. And the other thing is you need to land on that slope that you see right there. And yeah, you need to also hit it in a specific angle or degree, and I don't seem to get it right now. This is also a place, since it's such a small cave, and yeah, you're not really saving that much time if you're able to fly, which means if you're failing it 2 times in a row, you should just go by foot and abandon the glitch itself. Otherwise you will lose time, which I'm gonna do right here because I'm stupid and narrow-minded, and I really wanted to get that trick because of my ego, I guess. So now we got it, and we just solve a little puzzle right here. If you're wondering, we need to align those 2 turning plates to represent the symbols that we just activated on the outside, which is the moon and the sun. And it opens up this compartment right here where we get the last or the final key that we need for the final temple. And this is a really weird bug. It never happened before to me. You're normally kind of freezed in the air while you're talking to a spirit animal. However, it didn't do that for me in this scenario. And the problem I had now is I didn't know if my conversation was done or not. The problem is if you don't talk to the fox right here, you will not be able to open up the next temple entrance. And that's why I went in again and I lost like 10 seconds because of that. However, it's pretty weird and I'm pretty happy about the fact that I got it on camera right here and that I had a good run with it. But it's unlucky after all. And yeah, it turned out that it actually worked. I could have just like YOLO'd and fly to the sanctuary and just hope that it worked. But the thing is, I had such a good run beforehand, except for some minor things. And the PB was really possible. And I was like, okay, you know what? I don't care about those 10 seconds. I just wanna have a new PB and a PB that I can actually commentate to have like a proper explanation of stuff on YouTube later on. And this is the last temple. We call it Sanctuary. It's probably the biggest of all, and we are, as you could guess, going to skip it again. We, like at the beginning right here, we try to get a super bounce. It just saves about like 7 seconds, because you could just walk up on the left block right there, or stone, and just walk up. However, that saves some time right here, and we need to hit that angle right there, and that lets us go into the flying state again. For whatever reason, probably because the developer didn't intend you to reach that point of the wall. The wall doesn't have any collision to it. We can just fly through and get out of bounds and get inbounds right here again. However, you need to nosedive right here. It's a really tiny opening in the kind of rooftop of that collision hitbox, or like wall box. I don't know what the proper term for that is. Well, you basically have like walls everywhere around you so that you don't get out of bounds by yourself, you know. And the problem is, since we are going out of bounds, we need a place where we can get back in, and that little opening in the top of that platform that we just activated right there is the only way that I'm aware of where you can get back in bounds again once you got out of bounds. And it cost me a lot of runs failing to aim for it. You just bonk off and then fall to the ground, or like in the void, and you need to fly back up again and try it again, and you most likely fail again because you're triggered and you want to go fast. Yeah, that all happened to me more than once, I can tell you that. And those were the temples. We are now heading to the main island again, because we just got the third and last well, I don't know, not quarter, but like the last piece of this main coin, and the coin resembles or contains all of the memories. That's why the game's called the Memories of Old. It's something else that you will understand if you play through the game casually. And it allows us to open up the laser or light beam, which triggers the gate of the final main section. That's the beam I was talking about. And that's also where we are going to head to. We need to get 2 more achievements, but we can get them on the way towards that section area, whatever you want to call it. And for whatever reason, I just lost an input right there. That's another thing with this game. If you do stuff too fast, it sometimes just eats your inputs, and that was the reason why I just did a normal jump right there instead of entering the flying state, because you need to jump up and then jump again, so to say, to trigger the flying stuff. And those were the 2 missing achievements. We get another one right here because we visited all of the different areas on the overworld. It's going to pop up pretty soon. Should be right now. There we go. Cartographer. Oh god, my English. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm not really used to speaking it. I listen to a lot of English stuff and I write in English a lot of times, but I don't or hardly ever speak it. And this cutscene right here is the, well, not the worst, but like the saddest one of all. But I won't tell you anything about it because you need to understand the story behind it to know what happens right here. We are not dead, I can assure you that. And yeah, the music is great, by the way. The soundtrack is awesome. In most of my speedrun games, if you play them over and over, you get tired of the music and you just turn it off at some point and listen to your own Spotify or whatever playlist. I never need to do that in this game. It's just you can hear them in like a complete loop if you want. And this is the last flying glitch that we need to get. I failed quite a bit right here. It's kind of random, this part of the run. Well, more random than the other flying glitches because, or flying glitch setups. Because those glowing stones are kind of random. Well, they are placed at the same coordinates, but they have like an offset of a few pixels each time. And if you're pretty unfortunate, you'll get one where you need like 4 or 5 attempts to trigger the flying state. And I was unfortunate not once, no, I was unfortunate twice, because I also lost my flying state at the last text box pop-up spam thingy. That's also something that happens if you spam throughout the different text boxes too fast while being in the flying state, or in air generally. Yeah, it's not too bad because I don't really need it right here. It's resetting itself each time you load into a new area, and since we are doing that here, I don't really care. I lost like 5 seconds or something. And because of the last cutscene, we are now not able to fly anymore. We also have a glowing arm. And that's something essential for the last cutscene that we are going to get right here. And this is the part where our timing methods differ. This is the time where we would stop the timer in both of the other categories. Because this is like the last point, or the point where we lose control of our character for the last time. We don't do any, or we won't be inputting anything till the game's over. Problem is we are going for all achievements right here, and the last achievement is only unlocked before the credits roll and after this cutscene right here. And that's the reason why we need to wait right here. So yeah, that's AER Memories of Old. It's a super nice game, as I told more than once, I guess. I'm sorry about that. It's really cool. You should play it casually, and if you really like it, you might even try a speedrun once or at one day. If you wanna join us, we have a Discord. You can find it on speedrun.com, and that's the final time, 31:34. We go by in-game time, which is the RTA without loads. It's just more fair in a competitive environment. And as you can see in the background, the game devs are called, or like the studio is called Forgotten Key. They unfortunately had to disband this year because of financial problems. It's really unlucky, but we should still honor them for a great game that they released. And yeah, definitely a shout out to all of them who worked on that game. They did an awesome job, and I'm really happy to be able to speedrun this game. And yeah, if you want to join our community, you can just head to speedrun.com and then search for AER Memories of Old, and you'll find a Discord link if you check the forum post on our community site right there. I'm not sure if it's even linked in the game board. It could be. You need to check. I'm not sure. And yeah, huge shout out to Digital Sentry. He's the world record holder at the moment for all categories, I think. Well, maybe not no major glitches, but he's the world record holder of any percent, which is somewhere around 24 point something minutes. And as you could see right here, also in all achievements, and he has a 30:21 right now. 30, a sub 29 is definitely possible, which also you could see by looking at under my graphs. You have like the sum of best segments, and yeah, we might even get to a sub 28 at some point, but we got to train a little bit till we reach that point. So yeah, thank you for watching if you stick through it, and I hope I covered all of your questions. And if not, just ask them in the comments, and have a nice day.